All right, episode 53, basically Monday. Uh, here again. Valero and John, how have you guys been since the last time?
Hey, pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, not bad. I'm not pretty good, but not bad. So like, it's pretty standard actually.
How about
Have you?
yourself, John?
Good, busy. It's my last couple weeks of school, and I'm behind in like two of my four classes, so I just need to catch up, basically.
Mm.
But yeah, otherwise good. Just
So you have school and work and a kid all at the same time?
yep.
Wow, incredible.
It's yeah, it's a lot right now. But then during the summer, I'm not gonna take any summer classes, so I'll have like 5 months off. So it'll be nice, and I won't have to pay for school during that
5 months?
time. Yeah, because it ends, like my semester ends in May, and I don't think it's May 3rd, and I don't think the fall semester starts until September.
Oh, okay. It ends in the beginning of May, you said?
Yeah, May 3rd is my last day.
Oh, okay. So you basically have like all of May. That's like
Yeah.
super. That's next week, actually. You only have one more week.
Well, it would be the end of next week, so yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess considering today's
Yeah.
Monday, I still feel like I have some time. A
Yeah,
week and let's
technically
call it a
it's
week and a
closer to
half.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll call it a week
a
and a
week
half.
and a half. Oh my God, I can't believe it's already May. But yeah, okay, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to just chilling a bit more, or not having as much to do, I guess I should say. But yeah, otherwise doing pretty good.
So
Uh, yeah, I was like sick all week, so I'm like still a little bit out of it. Yeah, I didn't like see anything that was going on because I was like in the fetal position. I feel like Valero, you're usually like more up to date with like the normal like world things. Did I miss anything?
in the world, mm,
There is
hmm,
something that I heard on the radio the other day that I had forgot to or bring up in the podcast that the guy who was the head of FTX, he got sentenced to like 25 years in prison.
yeah, yep. They showed him no mercy.
Yeah.
And that was
Just
for what? Like, what was the sentence? Like, what was the?
I don't remember the exact charge he was convicted of, but basically like
fraud.
pretty large scale fraud. Like he couldn't account for like 8 billion in assets that he was supposed to have had when people were trying to withdraw. There was basically like a bank run on crypto when cryptocurrency back when it was like a hot thing, and then it tanked. So everyone tried to get
Mhm.
their money out, and his like company acted as a brokerage for those people's accounts. And when they tried to withdraw, they couldn't get their money out
Because he what?
Took it and spent
because
it.
yeah, because he had like taken it and spent it on other shit.
Oh,
He
so
basically did exactly what real banks do without any like government protection.
Right.
because crypto doesn't have any because it's not supposed to.
Right, yeah.
Basically, yeah.
But see, that's kind of the rub. Like people who are like, yeah, man, crypto, it's decentralized. Like, yeah, but that also means if someone robs you blind, there's nothing you can do about it. So like, I don't know if I'd actually want a completely detached currency. But
I
yeah,
mean, it looks like there is something you can do about it. You can go to jail for 20 plus years or whatever.
well, that's because yeah, crypto isn't really isn't really decentralized. It's fully centralized because everyone's treating it like real like U.S. dollars. So the only reason we know it's 8 billion is because we attach the value of crypto to the real dollar, like the U.S. dollar. which is the only reason why he's like being convicted. If we all just said, "Ah, it's just play money," and there was no actual exchange of U.S. dollars involved, then he wouldn't have been charged. But yeah, people deposited their U.S. dollars in exchange for what they thought like was a digital currency, and they thought they could convert it whenever they wanted. And when they realized they couldn't, that was when the problems arise.
That's crazy. Yeah.
You could, as long as it wasn't on FTX.
Yeah, yeah, that FTX man, that was the one. But yeah, he's gonna be in jail for the next 20 or prison, I guess, for the next 25 years.
That's a
Uh,
long time.
that is a long time. That is a
That's
very
all the
long
time.
time.
Like his life is. That's really it, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he's like
Uh,
30 something, he'll get out like when he's nearly 60.
yeah,
Like,
I think he could still like enjoy the from 60 on, but it's gonna be hard to like rebuild a life. That's gonna be tough.
yeah, you might as
There's
well
hope
just kill
though.
yourself.
At
Oh, okay. I mean,
if you got like 80 years and you're 30, then I'd say there truly is no hope.
yeah, for sure there's no hope. If you got 80 years at 0 years old, I would be like, there's no hope.
If I got like 40 years, I don't think I'd kill myself.
If right now you got 40 years, that
I
means you won't get
mean,
out until you're like 70, like
yeah,
mid 70s.
yeah. Well, I assume like if I was in his position, if I was like single and had like his life, I don't think I would be like thinking the world is legitimately over. I mean, that is a long fucking time, but I don't think it'd be like kill myself worthy time.
I feel like a lot of people like always end up like not serving their whole sentence too. Like so many people end up getting out of jail early for like some reason or another. So like that
Especially if
could
it's a
happen.
non-violent crime.
Yeah. Like is he up
Wait,
for parole? Is
yeah,
he eligible for
that's a
that?
good
Okay,
question. Does he get
he's
parole?
32. He's only a year younger than us.
Hmm.
So he's 32. So like 25 years. So he'll be 57 when he gets out. I guess it's not like the
Yeah.
end of the world, but like it basically is.
Honestly, like average lifespan probably got to like real average lifespans probably got to be in the 80s. Like I think the average numbers say 70s, but I think that also includes like all the infant mortalities and like every other reason you would die from like an early age. Like if
I
you
feel
were
like
just a
that
cocaine
checks
addict.
out for any normal person, but if you spend that much time in jail, I feel like your lifespan's going to be just less.
You think you're just gonna have a shorter lifespan? I
Y-
wonder what the average age is people of the people who die of when they have life sentences is in jail. That'd be an interesting stat.
Yeah, I never hear of 90-year-olds in jail, not even 80-year-olds.
I've
Like everyone
only
always has a stroke or a heart attack before then.
I've only seen that on like episodes of the show Lockup when that used to be a big thing and they'd like visit prisons and they did go to one where basically like the majority of the inmates were lifers. So yeah, most of them were old. And like the old people were trying to teach the younger people. I think the oldest I saw was 80s, but he was early 80s. And they were all the old people were trying to teach the young people like how to literally do that, like not give up and just off yourself, off yourself basically. Since all of them know like that's where they're gonna die.
God, that's what the whole thing was. It's like, hey, don't kill yourself. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, it was about like what you said, like trying to reinvent their life or like trying to find other ways to have meaning in their lives, even if they're in prison.
How do you have meaning in your life? I mean, maybe there's like some ways
Some of them get like
possible.
pets. They
Okay,
become
you
like
can get a
gardener.
pet.
Yeah, in some prisons you can have pets. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, if that's the case, then like, yeah, I'll go to prison. That'll be fine.
some of them
That's a,
trained animals and shit. Like one of them became like not a breeder, but like see a caretaker for horses and shit like that.
In prison? Wow, that's
Yeah,
pretty good.
like yeah, they have access. When you're in for real life, especially if you're older and you don't pose as much of a security threat, they'll let you do a lot more things as long as you weren't like violent the entire time.
Mm, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, at the point where you like can't even bathe yourself anymore. Do you is there like a different is there like an assisted living portion of prisons that have lifers like that?
I think so, yeah. Because
Like
prisons
Bill
have their
Cosby
own.
is supposed to be in prison right now, isn't he? But he's not because he's so old that like yeah, he like can't function. So
Who?
there's like whatever.
Bill
Bill
Cosby.
Cosby,
Oh,
he's
hmm.
still alive, right? Yeah.
I'm pretty
I
sure.
think so.
Yeah, and I think he's out of prison even though he's supposed to be in prison. But there's like he's so old, like he's already in prison in his own body. So like there's like whatever.
Jesus.
That's the future for all of us. So,
Yeah.
Nah.
Nah, not if
I'm gonna
not
be
if
out
you
there
die
moving
sudden and
around.
young.
Nah,
you
fuck
can't
that.
do that
At 90,
forever.
I'm gonna be walking. I'm gonna be
To the
scooting.
bathroom.
I'm gonna be out there,
Yeah, you're gonna break a hip.
fucking Pilates and all.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. Should be interesting, but I'm gonna try to be doing shit. Yeah, would you rather be active your whole life and like you can wipe your ass and drive the whole time, but you die 10 years earlier, or would you be okay, but like the last 10, would you rather live, but the last 10 years you can't, it's like you definitely can't drive. And like by the end of the 10 years, you have, you're not able to wipe your ass anymore.
Am I still like mentally there?
I guess it's up to you. Do you want to be?
Yeah, that changes it for me.
Sure.
If I'm mentally there and I can still talk, then yeah, I'm fine with that.
Holy shit, really?
That's
I
just
feel
being that's
like
just
if I couldn't
becoming
wipe my
old.
ass, I don't want to experience someone else wiping my butt for me. Like, no, you like just I can be dead. Like, that's fine.
Would
Like,
you?
what's
So if you
happening where I can't wipe my own butt?
So what if you were
Like,
like, what if you were like
my
in a
arms
car
don't
crash?
work?
Yeah, what if you were like in a car crash and it was like questionable whether you would get your mobility back? So like from the waist, like you were doing physical therapy, there was still a chance that you might walk or something one day, but right now you can barely move your hands. So right now someone's got to take care of you. Let's say that happened to you when you were 30 and you knew it was going to take 10 years in order to get your mobility back. And not
Yeah.
like gradually, like you have basically no mobility, and then at the 10-year day, you'll get it all
God.
back. Let's just assume that for a second. Would you live that out, or were you just saying, I'm done? Like, I don't want to wait the 10 years.
If I would choose to live that out up until I was like 80. And then once I'm 80, no, there's like, what's the point? Like, I'm gonna come back as a 90-year-old that who can barely walk anyways. Like maybe like if all my friends were still alive and
Why
like
is it?
kicking,
Why
I'd be
is it
like,
a
okay, yeah.
why is it a
But if you
foregone
guys were
conclusion
all
that at
dead,
90 you're just gonna be like immobile? Like you
uh,
can you can be 90 and moving. It's like it's
I've never
possible.
seen, I've never seen a 90-year-old who's like who can blend in with a crowd of walking people.
Well, I mean, I think even if
Isn't
people could
what's
walk, you could still be able to tell they're 90.
that guy
What?
And that's a feat.
on American Idol? The new one, the new black judge. What's his name? All Night Long. Lionel Richie. He's
Is
pretty
he
old, right?
90?
I'm pretty sure
He's
he's
like
in his
way up there, but he looks
80s.
like he's 50.
Lionel Richie. Let's look it up.
Oh, Richie,
It says he is dead.
yeah. He's
No, I'm just kidding.
70. He's 74.
It's only 74.
No.
You're like, yeah, he's 90. I'm pretty
Only
not,
only 74. You want to be 74 tomorrow?
Yeah, 74 is pretty up there. Like you
I
got.
expect myself to be completely mobile up until like late 80s, honestly.
Oh, okay. So why not at 90 then? And what if you're just someone who takes really really good care of yourself? Like how many 90-year-olds? I
I'm
know you.
not.
I know you said that you. You said you're not. You're just planning on giving up.
Mhm.
That's
I mean, like,
wild.
I take care of myself, but not like, I don't think I'm gonna be taking like that good care of myself where I'm just like roided in my 90s. Like, maybe, honestly, like, maybe, like, honestly, I feel like I change a lot in my life. Like, So like, there's actually, I guess there is a chance, but like, I'm assuming like, no, I'm assuming that's not gonna happen. Like, it might though. I don't know. Yeah, I guess who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm assuming 90s are not gonna be fun.
Fuck, I'm gonna be having fun in my 90s.
So
Chilling.
Like,
you would
I
be
feel like it depends. Yeah, if you guys were still alive, because if like you and like everyone I know and care about is dead, then like I don't see how that can be fun. But if like I have someone to hang out with that like kind of knows what I've been through, then I feel like that'd be worth it.
so you're not at at this point in time, neither of you are saying that's way too young. Or I'm saying there was so you guys are saying that guy was still young or that lady was still young when you hear they die in their 70s.
Yeah, I think that's young to die.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
I don't feel like
Oh,
I
okay.
wouldn't say like, oh, they were too young, but I would say like I expect, yeah, more. I think the life expectancy, what is it?
The last time I saw it, it was in the 70s, but again, I think that includes like regular, like people who die from crazy shit.
US life expectancy is 79.25 years. So like
That's
you're expected to basically make it to 80. So if you don't make it to 80,
80's average,
then yeah, like
right?
When I hear anything over 70, I'm like, okay, like that seems about like right. Like I'm
I
not
feel like
shocked.
yeah, I wouldn't complain. Yeah, if like it was over 70. I'd be like, okay, like you lived a full life, like you did.
No, I would feel
But
robbed if I
you
got
could have
cut
got
off
10 more
before
years.
85.
But yeah, same. If I got cut off before 85, I would feel robbed.
What things do you think are gonna happen between 75 and 85 that you would be robbed of experiencing?
Watching my family grow up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, I want to see what my. Hopefully, I get to see grandkids. Like, maybe if I'm that old, like possibly even like great grandkids. Like, that'd be kind of crazy.
Yep. Yeah, legacy.
So you just want to see that your influence still is around somehow.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
guess I am interested in like just like where the world goes,
I just want
like
to see what
where
they
it's gonna end
do.
up going.
Not that I have necessarily to see my influence, but just to see like what we did with our small choices and what that turned into. I don't know that that's necessarily my influence, but just like what choices they make. Because it's just interesting to me.
If it turned out that the way the balance of the universe was, the longer you lived, the less chance at positive or good outcomes of the lives of your offspring are. Like, let's say that your entire family has only like a certain pie of good happenstance, and the longer people live, they're like taking out of that pie. Let's say that every year after 70, there's a 20% less chance that your family's gonna see plenty and success. But if you decide to cut your life short at 75, then your family is guaranteed to see plenty and success, and you will still be remembered. Does that change anything for you? You're still perfectly healthy at 75. Like you could still, like you'd be running and kicking and jiving up until like 115, but every year after that, the rest of your family is going to be suffering.
Wait, they're just not gonna have like great things happen to them, or they're going to. It's mandatory that they suffer in some way.
Like just generally nothing good or exciting is going to happen.
Oh, well, no, I wouldn't die for that. I wouldn't die early for that.
Okay, so like you'll still go on for the 115.
Yeah.
But if you did decide to cut it short at 75, it's a guarantee that good and fruitful, successful things will happen to those in your lineage after you.
Yeah, I
You
understand.
would still choose the okay. All right. What about you, Laura?
I would choose to cut it off. I would do it. Yeah, I would take my Obi-Wan Kenobi moment and
Mm.
I'll just let
You
myself
would
get chopped down for basically no reason.
you
But
would
like there would be
commit
a reason. Like
you commit
the
seppuku.
reason was like so like my those ahead of me can have a better life. My life is over. I'm an old man. Like
It's
Yeah,
just
it
it's just
it
so
seems like
so
it seems
interesting
like
that
Don,
you
you're
feel like
saying
life is
that
over at 75. That's so interesting.
that's not, it seems like you're saying that you'd rather just be around just to see, even if it costs everyone around you.
Well, no, I'd also just rather live my life because my life's not over. That's
Okay.
I'd also rather be able to live.
I was just well, the first thing that you said was because I want to like see like my family and like what they do.
Well, that was
But
when
now
you
you're saying I'd
that
be
was
willing
what
to throw that away for
no
15 extra, 20 extra years.
how am I throwing that away? I would be around to be able to see them.
But what do you want to see? You just want to just be able to look at them in general, even though you know there is a zero chance of any good success, any like forward movement after you go beyond 75, if you choose to.
Yeah, because honestly, I mean, I understand like the premise of the question. Like you're saying they have to. Again, you sound like you're saying they have to suffer. And then when I said that, you said no,
No,
no, there's nothing good happens to them. So like nothing good. Like eh, I don't understand how like what does it mean nothing good? So you're saying their life is just
you.
regular,
I'm
like
asking you.
mundane?
I don't have like offspring, so I'm trying to understand like
Yeah,
your guys' mindset.
I'm
Like
trying to tell
what
you.
is what exactly like what would you say like you would be interested to see that would make you be like, "Oh, I'm glad I was around for that."
Just their lives and their choices because they would be people that I've gotten to know if I'm 75 and that they would be people I'd want to continue to be around. It's not necessarily to see if they made one choice or the other or to see that they didn't make one specific choice. It's really not about that. Like they're going to make the choices they're going to make regardless. But if they're family members of mine, yeah, I want to be around because I enjoy being around them.
Immediate family.
Yeah, but I thought if we're talking when I was 75, at that point you could have extended family too.
Mm. Family of your own blood. Like that
Sure.
have come from your yeah,
Yeah,
right.
right.
yeah, what about you? What would you choose?
Me?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, I'm out at 75.
You would you would take the sacrifice?
For
Yeah,
sure,
I feel like if
absolutely.
I was guaranteed to know that okay, like it's because of my sacrifice or my death that is what's causing their success and I am guaranteed to know like it's gonna work out and it will like work. Then like yeah, I would do it. Yeah, I would for sure do it.
Well, for me, it's like I'm on the like I'm doing it not because I want to be the cause. I don't want to be the detriment.
Right, like either way, like right, like you have right, exactly. Like you can either choose to take yourself out and everything will go better, or you can choose to keep yourself in and everything will go not better.
I guess I just logically have a hard time imagining a world where that's possible. I know it's a hypothetical question, obviously, but like it's just so hard for me to even like place myself in that hypothetical because it sounds so far from the reality that I would be looking to create that it just like I can't imagine that being a liable, like an actual thing that will happen. So even then, I think to myself like,
It's not meant to be like a real decision. It's just
I know, but that's how I answer questions by
Like
placing them in the framework of real decisions.
I've got one for you. So like what if like you old grandpa fat bucks over here with all the money, like everything's just getting harder and stuff. So like let's just say the generations underneath you just never were able to make it. Like let's say like
What
the
does that
housing market just gets
what does that
so
even
crazy
mean?
that like not even our kids are able to buy a house. So like that's just how it is. Like up until you are like literally 75 years old or whatever. But like, let's say like your grandkid is like, I don't even know, like a young Bill Gates or something, or like just like a genius. And like, but how would you know for sure? If you knew for sure, I guess like I was gonna say like, let's say you have like a genius like offspring of some sort, and all they need is like your funding essentially, or just funding in general. And obviously, like no one's gonna give that to them like for a crazy idea, like not even you, grandpa, for like not anything like stupid. But like, let's
Well,
just say
if
like
it's
that stupid
stupid, then
idea.
no. but if it was
I
something
mean,
that
a
they
lot of
could,
stupid ideas have made absurd amount of money. So like at the end of the day, was it really stupid? But like at the beginning,
d-
it sounded stupid. So like, what if it was like one of those things, and like all they needed was for you to die
I
and your inheritance to split up, and
I
then they could use
disagree.
that.
I would disagree that the thing that makes an idea stupid is whether or not it makes money. I think there's lots of ideas that have made lots of money that are still stupid. That is not my measurement for stupid.
So
So
you wouldn't give
if I
someone
think the idea sounds stupid, I don't care how much money it will potentially make. I'm not giving you my money to go do it.
that doesn't make sense.
It absolutely does. There's certain things I want to spend my money on, and there's certain things I don't want to spend my money on.
But in this case, it's like an investment. So like the purpose of the investment is to like put money in and then take more money out
Yeah, but
like
you put
at a
money
later
in,
time.
but you put money into things that you think make sense. And I would not put my money into something that I didn't think made sense because it was stupid.
But you said you wouldn't put your money in something that you considered stupid,
No, I
even
wouldn't.
if you knew that it would make money.
Correct.
And how does that make sense? I don't understand.
Because not every I don't think everyone invests with the sole like there are some things that I don't want to make money on. And I know that's not everyone's prerogative, but like there are certain things just generally that I don't want to invest in. So like I would not invest in
Okay.
directly in like a bank that loans out money to other people at obscenely high interest rates. Now, I know indirectly my money probably goes to do that in some fashion, right? Because I can't control that. But if I directly can see that that's what the business that I'm contributing to, I would not want to own that business.
Okay, these sort of arbitrary opinions and like ways you like to do things are the exact type of like thing that like would make the scenario perfect. So like yeah, what if you had a grandson who
Yeah,
was like, "Dude, I have like this bank or whatever that like Grandpa John always says he does not like to invest in, but like I
yeah.
just know it'll do everything.
Okay,
Like it'll be successful."
that's
But
good
like you
for
just
you.
never bought it. But like yeah, but the only problem with this is like the situation that Guda was bringing up, you would know for sure that you dying would make everything better. But in this scenario, if you were to know for sure that him getting money would make it better, then you would have given him the money to begin with. Well, I guess not at though, because you don't like to give people money for things you don't agree with.
No.
So yeah, okay, this kind of works then. So like, what if you had a super savvy
Hold on. Can we just like stop for a second? You know people who like giving money to things they don't agree with?
That's a good question.
I mean, like, I'm sure people would do that. Like,
Uh,
yeah, like to make money.
yeah, see, but
Yeah,
that
for sure.
Oh,
I think
okay.
he's right.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
Valero was right. I don't think the average person thinks about how the money that they spend aligns with their values at all.
Right. Like if you're in it to make money, then like you're just making money. Like,
So maybe that's the difference. I'm not in it simply to make money. I'm in it to make money in a way that aligns ethically in some way, somewhat closely to what my values are. I know that I can't be perfect on that because I can't control all businesses, but if I'm going to directly impact it, I want to make sure that the things I'm directly contributing to are not things that on their face seem scummy to me.
yeah, okay. So like what if like you had like a genius kid who had one of these ideas that you didn't morally agree with spending your money on,
Hmm.
but like you knew he's a genius, but like
That's
you the
great.
only reason you're not giving him the money is because you don't want to see him go out on this endeavor because like you think it's bad for whatever reason, like
Hmm.
bad for the world or bad for himself or whatever it is. So like yeah, that's a good scenario. So like let's say you know deep down that when you die, he's gonna get a big chunk of your money, and
No,
he's
he's not.
probably gonna.
How?
You would write him out of the will if someone had a
Why?
bad idea?
Why would I give people money to spend in a way that I don't agree with? It's still my money. Why would I give you money? I'm not
But
gonna.
you're
You're
dead,
not. You're not entitled to my funds when I die.
so you're
I'd,
not
I'd
gonna.
sooner I'd sooner give it
You're
to a
not gonna.
charity. I'd sooner give it to a charity that I do agree with.
Damn. Okay, so like if your
You
kids,
being you being
if
my
your
blood,
kids,
you
if
being
you
my
have the
blood does
hint.
not entitle you to my money. Absolutely not.
Wait. So hold on. So does this mean that like you, under no circumstance, will be leaving your children money,
No, no,
or
I'm
does
not
that
saying that.
mean
No.
only if your kid has a crazy idea to use the money on, then you wouldn't
Only
leave them?
only if it is apparent to me that the money will not be used in a way that I feel is productive for their lives, would I leave them out. If I find that is
Damn.
the case, like it's a good example, a good like stupid example that everyone I think would understand is like if my daughter turns out to be a drug addict, I'm not going to leave my drug addict daughter who's addicted to cocaine $7 million. She's going to kill herself. Like that's not me being helpful by giving her
No
money there.
trust,
No, absolutely not.
no faith.
Trust is earned. If you're a cocaine addict, you have lost some trust. I'm willing to bet. So yeah, no,
Damn.
definitely not.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah,
And,
I feel
and by
like
the way, I don't it's not that I don't want in that scenario, it's not that I don't want the grandchild or whoever it is to like not do the thing. If they think that it's not a moral issue and it's fine for them, I want them to go do that. I will just not be participating in them doing that.
so like all the other grandkids get money, but because you told them that they told you about this idea and you didn't like it, then like they got written out of the will. Like that would kind of suck though. Like
I don't
it's
think it
like,
sucks at
oh,
all.
oh my God, that's so brutal, dude. Okay, well,
Why do you think grandchildren are entitled to money?
if you guys, well, like it's the fact that everyone else is giving money, but like
But
honestly,
the
they
re
could have
but
fucked up
but the re
ideas too, but they just
yeah,
didn't tell you. But
right.
the ones who did tell you, now
Yeah.
they're getting punished. Like
Sure.
I'm sure, like I'm
But see,
sure
like
after the
that,
first one
that's that.
realizes that if he tells you a bad idea, he's gonna get written out of the will. The other grandkids are
Well,
not gonna tell you
I
their
I
ideas.
don't think it's as simple as being just completely written out of the will after one idea. Like I wouldn't do that. But if the question is, would you invest in the idea? Like if they asked you, then the answer is no. But if you have other ideas that I don't agree with, and then I end up dying, that doesn't mean I'm not going to leave you money. I might. It depends on what I perceive you to be doing with the funds you already have and how you are living your life in general. If there are some things that you are like some basic principles that I believe in that you are violating, I'm not going to give you money. Now, you might use my money that I give you in ways that I might not agree with. That's fine. But if you directly ask me to contribute to something that you know I don't like, why would you expect me to say yes to that? Like, for what? I'm
I
not
mean,
doing
that's
that.
one thing, but then like you dying and leaving them money, that's a whole nother
Well,
thing.
I said I would leave people money if you just had one bad idea and I had said no, and like for the rest of you like that I've seen, you've had your life together, and like I wouldn't write you out of the will based on that. But if all you had were harebrained ideas and you just kept asking for funding all the time, and then I was going to be on my death, and like my only interaction with you is you like growing up and then harebrained ideas, yeah, I'm not leaving you money.
But like you're not gonna let them try at all, like,
They did try.
and
If they
just
were if they
learn.
were serious enough, they would have found some fucking funding by now. It's been
No, not
years.
Grandpa John funding. You got the bank,
Yeah, well, they should have found another bank.
and no one's
And
gonna
by the
give them money for these
and
hairball ideas.
exactly, and neither should I. That tells you something. If the bank
But
won't
like
lend them
you were
money, why
gonna
would
give them
I?
money anyways for dying. You were gonna do that regardless. But now because you know about his hairball ideas,
hmm
he gets that
Yeah,
taken away.
because that indicates something to me about how you use your time and your resources. If you every time you have an idea, you can't get it off the ground ever, that tells me something. This isn't for you. Leave the ideas to somebody else.
But he just needs a
Or at
little bit
least
of
leave the
money.
execution to somebody else. Like if you're that good, right? You have great ideas. You should also be smart enough to know that you need to bring in people to help you execute if you can't do it by yourself. So like
But how are you gonna bring in
if
people if you have no money?
then maybe you should go get a job and save some fucking money.
Oh, that's gonna take forever. He's gonna be
Yeah, it
old like you by
does.
the time he gets the money.
It takes a long time.
And then by that time you'll be dead and he'll just get the inheritance. He'll be fine.
Maybe.
But yeah, not if you know about this idea and
Yeah.
he wants
Yeah, I mean,
and how
if you're
serious you
working,
are.
fine. I can respect it. But like, no, I'm not gonna like. If you don't have good money management, there's no way I'm just going to hand you cash and then expect you to do well with it.
I feel like yeah, when I die, I'll just give inheritance. The only way like I would write someone out of the will if they're like a direct enemy to like me and the family. Then like okay, obviously like I can't share things with them because like they'll use it against us and like somehow or something. So like as long as that doesn't happen, like I would just fairly give everyone exactly equal of like whatever I wanted. Like
Just simply because they're blood. So like how they
right,
live their life has nothing to do with it.
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
like
And you
just
feel that
complete equality across the board.
so you do feel like bloodlines of yours are entitled to resources that you make once you die.
Yes. And I think the reason to that is just because we don't agree on like whatever it may be, lifestyles, like this harebrained ideas or
Sure.
whatever. Like I'm an old man. I'm not with like the times. I don't know what the world is, what's really happening anymore. They're young. Like I know I'm going to raise my kid right, and I'm gonna raise her to raise her kids right. So like I feel like I have to give myself and my kids credit for that and just trust that even if I don't agree that it was a bad idea, that even if they take my money and just lose it immediately on this terrible idea, one, at least it'll be a learning experience for them. And two, at least they can never say they never had a chance.
I don't, and maybe that's where we disagree. I don't think that all ideas require large sums of money to implement. If the idea is that good, you will find ways to build it from the ground up. Not every single idea needs to be something as large as changing the world right away, where you need fucking VC level funding. That's just ridiculous. Some of the best ideas have come from like very small amounts of money. So the fact that they'd even be bringing it to me in the first place tells me I feel like we're shooting a little bit above our station. Like execute on a smaller level first, so that when you get to the big idea, you at least have some funds.
But you know, every single billionaire got there because of a loan from their father or grandfather.
That's great for them. If
That is
what
how you succeed.
if
That's how
what
you get ahead.
and if what you are basing success on is whether or not they're a billionaire, then I understand why that is your answer. But that is not how I would measure my children's success. Not based on how
Well,
much
I
money
mean,
they save
that's
or
what
how
this is
much.
about,
Yeah.
the money.
Oh, okay. Well, the
Like
question's about the money, but that's my answer's not based on the money.
but I guess like yeah, if the question was about just success and wellness, like
Yeah.
that's kind of interesting. Like if I die, then I just know for some reason my family will be happier. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would still choose to sacrifice myself, like even if it wasn't money based. I feel like that would probably indicate that I must be some huge asshole if like everyone's happier. Like, whoo, thank
Yeah, isn't it?
God.
Isn't it just
It just
easier to just like not quarantine, but like exile yourself? Like, fuck, how could I be so bad that I'm just causing them turmoil with just by breathing air? Like,
By
holy
being
shit.
alive.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Honestly, like I
that's
feel like
why
I've met some people like that.
sorry. No, that's
Oh,
why I preface it by saying like it's a it's a matter of like sharing the luck or happenstance pie. Like every family only gets a little bit. Like every family on Earth can't be successful and they're not. So it's like the longer you live, like the less chance. So that's why I was just asking. It just tickled me a little bit. That it's like at 75, it's like you can make sure all those harebrained schemes work, but then you'll wait until like the day afterwards and be like, "Man, you dummy." Which is like fine. Like we need people like that around. Like everyone can't just like think they're walking on gold leaf and everything that they say or touch turns into emeralds. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a balance, but Yeah.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason this whole like invest in the harebrained schemes thing that I think people don't realize that's exactly how most athletes lose their money. Like they give
Hmm.
their money to everyone who's ever had an idea that they cared about. All the kids, all the cousins, all the people that they used to hang out with in the hood, and now they have no fucking money. Like, dude, it happens to them all the time. So yeah, I get that like the few stories of the billionaires makes it seem really alluring, but there for every single one of them, there's a whole bunch more people who just fail and you never hear from them. So like, yeah, I think some things are fine to take chances on, but I'm just not gonna give you money every time you have an idea that could be good. Like, no, there's just no way. And yeah, no, I do not think I should have to die so that you can have success. That's very strange. I don't like the
But
way that.
a lot of like younger generations think that. They're like,
That's
man, get
crazy.
these boomers out of here so we can get those houses and that money.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Honestly, like yeah, I kind of agree though. Like, the longer I start seeing these old people stay around, I'm just like, you know what? I don't know if I like the idea of immortality. And like, I think I've actually said that before. Like, I think it's best for the world that old people die. Like, could you imagine if some of these people just stayed in power forever? Like, that they would nothing would change. Like we would be stuck. Things would get so corrupt. Like, yeah, it's definitely good. And like also like they would amass so much wealth and power that like there would be no freedom, I'm sure. So it's definitely good. I think that people do die eventually.
Wow, that was interesting. So just death to old people then. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
would
mean, it's
say
coming to them
even
no matter what. They can't help it. They can't stop
that
it.
is true, exactly. But like
Like
yeah, like
imagine. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say like when you're old, you're just like out of touch with like what
I don't understand
people
how
want.
being in touch why is that a metric for how valuable your life is like on its own.
Well, like if you are controlling like a vast majority of like if you have the power because you're old and you've amassed it, but you're out
Huh.
of touch, like that's a problem.
And what way do you feel like old people like? Because you're, I'm trying to make sure I'm not mishearing you, and because it sounds like you're saying all old people, but the way you're phrasing the thing that the old people are doing, it makes it sound like you're talking about like government officials, like when you say people in power. So like, do you think all old people have power, like everyone who's at above a certain age? Or are you saying you think the old people in power specifically need to be rotated?
I would say old, it's more old people in power specifically, but I will also say that most old people, not all of them, that's definitely not true, but a lot of old people, I would say that the majority of old people in America have power, whether that be like in their big ass bank account, like because like they bought a
What?
house for $2 in the 60s and now it's worth like $1 million. Like that's sort of things that like
You
people
realize that
underneath
is
them are never
far.
gonna get.
You realize that's far from the average old person, right? Like that, the average old person is not that. What you just described.
What?
It's not.
How?
It's not rich.
The average old person doesn't have a house in America?
Oh, I don't know about having a house, but the like
If
the.
you have a house and you're
Ooh.
old, more than likely you've paid it off by now. And if you have a paid off house in America, you're rich.
What?
I mean, unless it's like if you just have like a super cheap house, then like yeah, I guess it's not really worth much. But I would assume they would have
Uh,
probably upgraded or moved to a better neighborhood as people normally do.
I just know I've seen the like net worth numbers for most older people, and it's not it's not crazy numbers.
Like I'm trying to
Certainly not
think like
millions of
That's
dollars.
because that's because they're sticking around too long. They just check out at 75 and pass the luck along.
yeah, yeah, right when they have all their savings built
I'm
up for
just kidding.
retirement.
Like my dad is like
Just
over 75. I do not want him to die.
I feel it. Oh man.
But I mean, yeah,
And
I
yeah,
don't
that's
know.
the thing. If you live older, if you live longer, then like generally, most of the time, like when you die, you don't even give money to your grandkids. It all just goes to your
70,
kids.
77% of homeowner or people who are 65 and up are homeowners. 77.
Okay, so
Six,
yeah, most people. So I would say
63,
most old people are
but
doing good.
most people right in the age we're coming into are also 35 to 35 to 54. It's 63%. Most of us are
Oh,
too.
we're not 35.
But okay, but we're closer to that category. We're about to leave this category. Oh,
We're
35% for us.
yeah,
So under 35. But like
that's more like it. Yeah.
we're also in the category of people who are like 18, like people who are new adults. Of course they're not going to have a house.
Right. And of course, like the people who are 55 are gonna have a house because back in the 80s, houses were like $2 a piece.
Yeah,
So it's just
sure.
different like now. Like
Yeah.
so you can't get a house because it's too expensive, but like back in the day it was super easy, and now because of that simple reason alone, if you got in on that back in the day, you're just rich now. Like it's just plain and simple. Like you're good.
No, or that's your entire net worth and you have no money.
I mean, still, if you have $1 million house but nothing in the
But the
bank account,
the
you're
average
doing
the
pretty
average
good.
65-year-old doesn't have $1 million net worth. They don't have $1 million house.
Okay, I mean, not $1 million house, but
Not
also the
even
average
close. Like not even a
65-year-old
quarter million.
has some sort of like savings or retirement,
But if you're
but they
if you're
also have a
old,
house on top of that.
if you're old and you have 200,000 in retirement, which honestly is about what the average is for people over that age group, and you're retiring and you have a $400,000 house, okay, you have $600,000, quote unquote. 400,000's in the house. You don't have access to that. You know how fast 200,000 is gonna go when you retire and you're not working. That
Yeah, and then you
like
sell your house and move somewhere cheaper, and then you have all that
somewhere
cash
you just
again.
said somewhere cheaper. How are they gonna find? You just said though that no one can afford the house. So where cheaper are they gonna move? That's why they're
No,
not moving. They're keeping the
you're
house.
gonna sell your house for $400,000. You have $400,000 now to move to a
So
$100,000 house, and then you'll
okay,
have 300 more $1,000.
okay,
So then
and that'll
interest
last
on
for
all
how
that,
many? And that'll last for how many more years?
I don't know
Until you
how
move
long.
to the apartment, and then you move to the grave, and then it doesn't
Right.
matter anymore.
Yeah.
Eventually you'll die. Yeah,
Right.
like
So for half of that, they will not have just like realistic like assets that for especially for that apartment phase. So like they don't have the money that you think they have. And when they do have it, they're quickly putting it back into circulation because they don't have that much.
I mean, if you have over $100,000 in cash, if you just let that sit in the bank, interest alone, you don't need to spend any of the cash. So if they have
If you're
200 in cash, if they just let that
you
sit in the
do you
bank,
think you can live on like average interest on cash like in a regular bank account, a
no,
savings
not a,
account?
I mean, not a bank account, but obviously you just invest it in anything, like any sort of fund
Okay, well
anywhere.
some years are down, but let's assume it was like some income producing bullshit where you get like 10%, which the market average is 10%. Even on if a hundred, let's say it's a $200,000 account, 10% of 200,000 is 20,000. You're gonna live on $20,000 a year?
That's pretty feasible. Yeah. You don't have a house bill. There's no mortgage. You
What?
pay
But no,
taxes on your house.
there is a mortgage.
No, there's not.
I thought they had to move.
Once you pay off your house, unless you buy a
Oh,
house
so
that's
this is
more
assuming they have
expensive than your house,
200,000 and a
you
four
never
hundred
pay a
thousand
mortgage
dollar
ever
house.
again.
Okay, so you're saying that $400,000 house and 200,000 just assets that they had,
Right. Yeah.
and you
So
think
then, yeah, you just live off the interest of your cash that you have invested, live in a cheaper place, and yeah, you
and
can easily live under 20,000
so
and still have
how
like a pretty good life.
so how is that person so rich that they're disrupting other people's ability to own homes?
I mean, a lot of these people right now aren't even they're not at the part where they even like are selling their house for a cheaper one. They're just sitting in their expensive house because like it's so affordable, and like on top of that, all their other accounts and everything have inflated to like ridiculous rates. So it's like everyone's just like
But I'm
good. If
just
you
saying
have
the person that
one
we just went
property,
over, the
you're
person that
good.
we
If you
just
have
went over.
two properties, yeah, you're filthy rich. Like
Okay, that's not most homeowners though. Most homeowners over 65 do not have two homes.
but a lot do. But even if still, like I
If it's
said, if
not
you have
most,
one
how is it a
home,
lot?
you're doing really,
What?
really good. If you have one paid
I
off
mean, look,
house,
why
you're
don't we
doing
do a
amazing.
sample size like right here? Like, how many of our parents had like rental properties?
Mine did.
We're gonna sample
Mine
three.
did.
We're gonna sample 3 people.
Yeah, I mean,
Did
what
yours?
the fuck else are we
No.
gonna do? Go talk to? That's bullshit. I thought you guys
Yeah,
were
they
flippers.
flip properties. That's like
No.
the same thing.
It was their
Yeah, it's
pri-
real estate.
It was their primary residence that after they fixed up, they sold.
Oh,
That
so
was
they
not owning
well,
a rental property. That
so
was the
they live
question.
in
The
it
question was rental
with
property.
houses, but still, it's the same thing. Like they have a
Okay.
house, they use their
Okay.
house,
Okay. You
and
did
that and
you
the
answer
house
for me
is
then,
something
because
that like people
he
can't.
asked the
Yeah,
question. He did say that though, but okay.
but I think
I
like
did
that.
not say that.
So now everyone who fixes up their house and moves is also included in this definition.
Yeah,
No,
definitely.
Okay,
the only thing
I guess
he
I
was
own rental
saying,
real estate then, because I fixed my last house up. Like that doesn't make any
yeah,
sense. That's just normal people moving. Primary residences and rental real estate are not the same
Most
thing.
people don't have the
not really.
opportunity to fix up their house. Like
Yeah,
Gouda
no,
can't fix up his house and sell it.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
no.
Okay. If we're just gonna keep moving the goalposts, then just tell me what the final, like, where we're supposed to
But
end.
the goalpost has stayed the same. It's the fact that
It
he
wasn't.
can't get a house.
He said rental. He just asked a question about how many of us had rental property, and then when I said no and said what they did, then you just included that in the definition of rental
Oh
property.
yeah, your parents, right? Your parents didn't have rental properties apparently. Do your grandparents have rental properties?
No, a grandparent. None of my grandparents have any money. No.
Okay, so your
And
grandparents,
by the
do
way,
they have
that's
a
the
house?
no. And
Your
by
grandparents don't have houses.
my
None of
grandmother
them?
does not have a house. It might be split. Like maybe the ones on my dad's my mom's only Danielle's does. So like my parents, no. My dad's parents are both deceased. My I don't know my grandfather, and then my grandmother is in an apartment, and she's always had an apartment. She's never owned a home. And by the way,
Like, why
that's
is
pretty
that?
normal.
Do you know why? Well, I think like it's
That's
normal in Chicago, but
that's the averages. I'm just telling you, the average person in that age group has a $250,000 net worth when they get to retirement, like between 200,000 and 400,000 or something like that. Like they're not these people who are just like they're the average one of them is not holding on to a house with like all this great equity and then and like just on like they're just on their assets. But yeah, if we're gonna sample just the three of us, then yeah, I guess you're right. Than most people do.
All I was trying to say is that I think most of the people, our parents, like in our parents' generation or one a generation after them, no, actually no, just in our parents' generation, I think that was the last time where the real estate play was just like like it was easy, like it was just like yeah, like it's fine. Like once you get that home or multiple homes, then you're set.
Okay.
holy shit. The average net worth of a 75-year-old is 1.6 million.
Hmm.
What's the median?
Holy shit.
That sounds right.
335,000.
That's the
Yeah,
number you need to be dealing with.
Yeah, and that's about the
that's still
price of
pretty
like
good.
a house.
Like you'll live if your
Okay.
net worth is 300 like K, like you're gonna make it through
Yeah.
the year.
You can
Through a
sell your
year.
house, take all that cash,
Through a year.
invest it in the market, and just live off interest alone easily and live in an apartment.
Okay.
Or honestly, you could just get like a part-time job at like
No.
That I
wherever,
guess that
pay your
assumes you're
taxes on your
also
house.
like perfectly healthy. You never have any health issues at all.
Yeah, if you have health insurance, if you have health issues, you can't take care of your house. So you got to sell the house and then just live off the cash and the interest that it would have.
And you think 20,000 is enough to cover food, all expenses, and medical bills
Yeah.
a year?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Because
I
you don't
And
there's
and if
no
you and if you knew
Medical expenses would
after
bankrupt you if you made
if
twenty
you
thousand
knew
dollars a
after
year.
75, like that's where all your money was going, or you could gracefully check out, and now all your money can go to everyone else to help them make sure that
Yeah,
their lives are better.
yeah,
Like,
and they
in
can
the
invest it
future,
in this
you're
like
just like,
crazy
no,
idea.
fuck it. I don't give this money to Aurora Health.
Yeah, that's true. Instead of giving that money to Aurora Health,
Yeah,
yeah, they
to
completely
live. Silly, yeah, silly me
eliminate
for wanting to live.
it. Goddamn.
I'm just giving you a
Average,
hard time, but it's just funny to say out loud.
the average net worth. Goddamn, that's crazy. So the median net worth
That's the real number.
of yeah, people who are 65 to 75 is 400,000. So nearly $500,000. So most old people in America have almost $500,000.
No, that's less than half. Wait, what?
Right. Like they're getting there.
Okay.
Let inflation keep going, that'll go up. Yeah, it's closer to 500,000 than 250,000.
Okay, I feel like now though we've completely shifted again because before I thought we were saying that they old people were rich and then it became well the old people have enough to buy a house. So like which is it?
That's rich.
Okay. So
Dude, if
300,000.
you have six figures in the bank account, you're rich. You're fucking rich. Like, if you can sell your house and then live somewhere and then have six figures in the bank account, you are rich. Period.
Okay. So before I remember asking you what you thought rich was, and you told me that your number was 5 million. So now all of a sudden I don't understand how you're sitting here saying that rich in
Wait, that's what I
America.
thought rich was?
y-
5 million?
Yeah, I literally
In
asked
cash?
you. I literally texted you this. I texted you and Guda this like almost a year ago now. I asked both of you this question. And you said
That's
the number
crazy.
you would be shooting for to be considered rich was $5 million.
Oh, to consider myself rich. Okay, that's different than what I would consider other people rich. I mean, that's just like how
What?
I judge myself on a different scale. I thought, okay, if the question was
What is
how much
happening?
money does anyone have to have for you to consider them to be rich, then it would be like like in cash, like cash, like
Right,
straight cash. Like
because
if you
that's
have
net.
two hundred
Let's
thousand in
say
cash, you're rich.
let's say net worth because net worth implies that if you sold everything, you would have it in cash. So not
Okay,
necessarily you
net
have it in
worth,
cash, but net worth.
I'll say 500,000 at least. But if it was cash, half that, 200, 250,000, somewhere in there. But if it was in assets, yeah, double it.
Who who keeps 250,000 in just in cash? That doesn't. That's not like. I don't feel like people who have access to that much money are keeping it in just straight cash, unless they're like a drug dealer, maybe,
Right, you wouldn't ever have it in cash. You would at least have it like invested somewhere, like. But I feel like that's,
or in your house.
in my opinion, as good as cash. Like if you have an investment account that is worth 200, that you could easily sell it for all of that, then that's pretty good. But if your assets are in like cars and houses, then I'm like, okay, then yeah, that's not worth.
That's not
You
You
as
can
say
rich.
it's worth
That's
as
not
much,
as
but
rich
like,
to you.
yeah, we'll see after you sell it all how much cash you actually have.
you can do that.
What?
You can sell like your whole investment account to someone.
Oh, you probably could if especially no, yeah, I'm sure you could, but I don't understand why
No,
you would
why would you sell an investment account to someone?
because
You're just giving them the
you
money.
can just yeah, you would either give them the money or give them whatever assets you had
Or
invested in.
you just said sell your account, and I was like, wait, you could do that?
Oh,
No, yeah, I mean just like if you were to liquidate it and then yeah, then you could
Oh,
have the cash and that would be it. But yeah, usually like liquidating like those types of investments where it's like in an account, like you get like nearly all of your money, like all of what it's actually worth currently.
yeah, but yeah, you have to pay taxes on that shit though.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Yeah, this is we didn't even count for taxes for all this stuff, but
That's what
like
I'm saying. Like, I don't think that's gonna be easy. You wouldn't have taxes on the sale of your house under half a million. I don't think. So there might not be taxes if they did that,
you wouldn't
but
pay income taxes on that?
I don't think so. I think it's under half a million. You don't pay any.
Interesting. Huh.
All right. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So in order for so in order for an old person to be rich, the number is 350,000, and in order for you to be rich, the number is 5 million.
Y- In cash?
Why
Or
is the
no,
no net
or
worth? Net worth
5 million would be a net worth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is correct.
for
I
a
would
rich
consider
for a rich
myself
person?
rich
Okay. What
if I
and net worth of a person, average person today, how much would they have for you to consider them rich?
yeah, I would still it's right up there with the old people. The same thing, like 250 in cash, 500 in net worth. Ah, rich? Yeah, yeah. If you have yeah, I would consider
Okay.
that rich. Like
Okay.
you're doing good. Like you're at
Okay.
the very bottom rung of rich and it just
Okay,
goes up from
so
there.
then the average their average net worth, like you said, was 300,000 or 400,000 depending on where you looked. So it's under the number for the average, the median, so that more than half of them are underneath the number that you're saying is rich, and you're still saying that they're rich. That means they're not rich.
Well, yeah, net worth, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said
I
500
sup
for net worth.
I suppose, yeah, they're technically not rich, but they're almost rich. Like 400, it's
So they're
409.
so they're
Like that's
upper
not far.
so they're upper middle class.
Yeah. Like they're knocking at the door of all old people just being rich. Like that's just like the general vibe of old people. It's like, yeah, you can look at them and know that they have a lot of money
I would just say that
just because of their age alone.
old people got a lot of medical bills, and that shit is not cheap. So that 200,000, that shit would go real fast.
I mean, you can get like Medicaid to pay for a bunch of it, especially if you sell. Yeah, if you have like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you could do that. If you have like all your money in cash, but your yearly income is only $24,000, then the government's gonna be like, oh, you're a poor person, like you qualify for Medicaid.
Well, investment income isn't even income.
It's not income.
It's not considered like it, income in the sense that like a W-2 is.
What
So
is it?
like if you couldn't take money out of an investment account, and it's investment income. It has like its own category.
Oh,
But so
okay.
like
It
if
still
it
gets taxed or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
it's yeah, exactly. It still gets taxed, but like there's rules saying you have to have earned income, what they say is earned income to contribute to like IRAs, and investment income doesn't count towards that. So if all the money you made was from investment income, you could not just use that to open like a retirement account for yourself.
If all the money you made was investment income, could you say that's how much money you make per year? Like that's your yearly
Not
income?
unless no, not unless you go through a very like strict process with the IRS that states that you're like that certifies you as a trader for income, which apparently is a shit process to go through. So you have to be like very legitimately certified to like have it considered income. You can't just be like, yeah, I just trade on my laptop and I've made $100,000. They're gonna be like, we don't give a fuck.
So like how would they know though? So like if I were to open up a, a business,
hmm
get a business investment account,
hmm
fund it with however much money,
hmm
pay myself X amount of money based off of how much I make.
Yeah, to be considered a trader, you have to have like very specific certification. So like even if you register the business, the employee that you're paying in the business would have to have those same qualifications.
But who's checking for this? I don't understand.
The IRS. What do you mean?
When?
when you do your taxes.
Every year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Yeah, all those questions they ask you, that's like what it's for. They verify everything about you.
But they don't know. They don't. Well, I'm just like confused as to at what point would they be like, okay, this guy is something different than any other business that like all the millions of businesses people open like every day. Like, at what point is it flagged? And it's like, okay, like this guy has to go through special processes because, like, I can open
Because
up a business right now
because the other
and open
problem
up a bank account and start
because
investing in stocks or whatever,
because the other
and I don't
problem
think
with that,
anyone would
they would
flag
know
that for anything.
because they would because the people who provide you with your tax forms on how you did for your investment account, they also report that to the IRS.
And that's fine.
That's
That
how they
doesn't
would
mean I'm a day trader.
if
That
the
just means
only if
you're
the
a
only
company with an investment account.
in order for your company to have an investment account, they also have to have certifications. You can't just trade as a business and call that income according to the IRS. Like that's not how that works.
You can't.
It's not a normal business. No. And then if you don't classify it correctly, then you're going to have other problems because you like literally lied about the the intent of your business.
So you're saying if, yeah, you open up a bank account as a business and like invest it in a stock or whatever and it makes money, you like obviously you would have to report that on like your business's taxes, but like so you're saying that like there's a special place you would have to report it where then they would know like okay, this guy's doing this stuff and now he has to, but like who's gonna stop you? Like it's too late, you already did it.
Yeah, then you'll just run
Like
into like penalties that would probably bankrupt you. And
And if
then
you don't pay, you're going to jail.
yeah, and then they'll just garnish your wages, and because they'll have access because they know where the account is because you gave them
mhm.
like the form because you reported on it. So they
Yeah.
have the IRS is one of the few agencies who has like unfettered access to almost anything.
I mean they could have access to whatever they want, but like I'm just like
They could freeze
asking,
all of your accounts like it like it
I'm
could,
just asking why having like investing like your company's savings account is something special.
because the IRS classifies investment income differently.
Interesting. Well, I guess you learn something new every day.
The IRA, man, they'll get you. Don't play with them.
Yeah, so happy Earth Day, everyone. Has it been an hour yet?
Yes.
All right. Good times, everyone. Uh, we'll be back next week. Maybe. I'm not sure. Hopefully.
Yep.
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 All right. Until next time.
All
Episode
right.
53.